Welcome to my channel. Support our channel by subscribing. Your subscription helps us grow and create more intriguing content like this. Now let's dive into today's story. This is the second part of the story. I learnt about my wife's affair after finding her wet pants. Let's start. After reading Ben's post on Reddit, Liam felt a mixture of emotions: vindication, relief, and a sense of finality. The man he had loathed for weeks was just another victim of Chloe's deceit. Liam didn't feel sympathy for Ben, but there was a certain satisfaction in knowing that Chloe hadn't just wronged him. She had manipulated them both. It made Liam realize just how far removed from the woman he had fallen in love with Chloe had become. The next few days passed slowly. Although the revelation helped Liam make sense of the situation, healing wasn't as simple as reading a post on the internet. The pain of betrayal lingered, not just in his heart but in the quiet moments of his day. There were times when he would wake up in the morning and, for a split second, forget what had happened. The memories of the life they had built together would rush back. The lazy Sunday mornings, the spontaneous trips, the nights spent talking about their dreams. But reality would always settle in shortly after, and the sharp sting of betrayal would make itself known once again. Liam spent the first few months after the divorce trying to fill the void. He kept himself busy, working long hours, taking up new hobbies, and reconnecting with old friends he had lost touch with. But there was still an empty space in his life where Chloe used to be, and no matter how many distractions he found, that space seemed to remain untouched. One day, after several months had passed, Liam decided it was time to start letting go of the past. He had been holding on to small reminders of Chloe, old photos, gifts, little trinkets that had once meant so much. They were all stored in a box in the back of his closet, gathering dust. It was time to get rid of them. He opened the box and was immediately hit with a flood of memories. There were framed pictures of them smiling together on vacations, notes they had written to each other on anniversaries, and tickets to shows they had attended. Every item in that box represented a moment in their relationship, a moment that once felt meaningful and significant. But now, they were nothing more than relics of a life that no longer existed. Liam sifted through the items one by one, slowly placing them in a pile to throw away. Each photo, each letter, was a small step toward closure. As he held one of the last photos in his hand, a picture of them at a friend's wedding, beaming with happiness, he felt an unexpected calm wash over him. The anger, the bitterness, the betrayal. It no longer held the same power over him. These were just memories. They weren't who he was anymore. By the time he was done, the box was empty, and Liam felt lighter than he had in months. He threw the items away and closed the door on that chapter of his life. From that day forward, Liam resolved to live in the present and focus on his future, a future that no longer involved Chloe or the pain she had caused him. Time passed, and Liam gradually found peace. The anger and sadness that had once consumed him started to fade, replaced by a sense of determination to rebuild his life. He threw himself into his work, and before long his efforts were rewarded with the promotion he had worked so hard for. He moved out of the house he had once shared with Chloe, opting for a sleek, modern apartment closer to the city. It was smaller, more minimalist, but it was his, a space where he could start fresh. In his new apartment, Liam felt a renewed sense of freedom. He began to rediscover parts of himself that had been buried beneath the weight of his failing marriage. He took up hobbies he had once loved but abandoned over the years: photography, hiking, and even cooking. He found joy in the simple things, like exploring new neighborhoods in the city or spending weekends in nature, away from the hustle and bustle of his work life. It wasn't always easy, but Liam slowly began to realize that he didn't need Chloe or anyone else to make him happy. He was enough on his own. One evening, while out with some friends at a local bar, Liam ran into an old college acquaintance, Sarah. She had been part of his friend group back in the day, though they had never been particularly close. But that night, something felt different. They started talking, catching up on the years they had missed, exchanging stories about where life had taken them. Sarah had recently moved back to the city after spending a few years abroad, and like Liam, she was also starting over in her own way. As the night went on, their conversation deepened. There was something easy about talking to Sarah, something that felt natural, comfortable. They shared similar experiences, similar disappointments in life, but also a similar hope for the future. By the end of the night, Liam realized he hadn't thought about Chloe once. Sarah made him laugh in a way he hadn't laughed in a long time. She made him feel alive again. Liam and Sarah began spending more time together. What started as casual meetups with mutual friends turned into long dinners, late-night conversations, and eventually, something more. Sarah wasn't like Chloe. She didn't play games or hide behind a facade. She was genuine, kind, and open. Being with her felt different, in the best possible way. There was no pressure, no expectation. It was just two people enjoying each other's company and seeing where things might go. For the first time in a long time, Liam allowed himself to feel hopeful about love again. He had been so guarded after what had happened with Chloe, so afraid of opening his heart and getting hurt again. But with Sarah, things felt different. She wasn't just a distraction or a rebound. She was someone who understood him, someone who made him feel like he could move on without fear. As the weeks turned into months, Liam and Sarah's relationship blossomed. They took things slowly, allowing their bond to grow naturally. There was no rushing, no need to define their relationship immediately. They were both healing from past wounds and learning how to trust again. But with every date, every conversation, Liam could feel himself letting go of the baggage he had been carrying. One evening, as they sat together on the balcony of Liam's apartment, looking out at the city skyline, Sarah asked him something that took him by surprise. "Do you ever think about her?" she asked, her voice soft but curious. Liam knew exactly who she meant. Chloe. He leaned back in his chair, exhaling slowly. "I used to," he admitted. "A lot. It was hard not to. But now, not so much. I think I've finally made peace with it." Sarah nodded, her eyes searching his face for any lingering pain. "You seem different, happier." Liam smiled at her, reaching out to take her hand. "I am," he said simply. For the first time, Liam realized that he had truly moved on. The anger, the hurt, it no longer consumed him. Chloe was a part of his past, but she didn't define his future. He had learned from the experience, grown from it, and in the process, found someone who made him realize that love could be pure and real again. Months later, Liam had all but put Chloe out of his mind. His life with Sarah was progressing steadily. They weren't in a rush, but there was a quiet certainty between them. Liam had found a happiness he hadn't known was possible after his world had fallen apart. Then one day, fate intervened in a way Liam hadn't anticipated. He was at a cafe downtown, meeting a colleague for coffee. As he waited at the counter, he saw a familiar figure walk through the door. Chloe. It had been nearly a year since the divorce, and seeing her felt like a distant memory come to life. Chloe looked different, tired, a little worn down. Gone was the bright, confident woman who had once been the center of his universe. She hadn't noticed him yet, but Liam could see the weight of what had happened etched on her face. She looked around, scanning the cafe, and when her eyes finally landed on Liam, they widened in surprise. For a moment, they just stared at each other. There was no anger, no bitterness, just a strange, hollow recognition. Chloe walked over to him, her steps hesitant. "Liam," she said quietly. "Hi." "Hi, Chloe," Liam replied, his voice calm. They stood there for a moment, the silence heavy between them. Chloe fidgeted with the strap of her purse, clearly unsure of what to say. How have you been?" she finally asked, her voice tentative. Liam thought about the question for a moment. He could have said so many things. He could have told her how she had broken his heart, how much pain she had caused him, how he had struggled to move on. But instead he smiled, a genuine, peaceful smile. "I've been good," he said simply. Chloe nodded, looking down at the floor. That's good. I'm glad." There was another long pause. Liam could see the regret in her eyes, the sadness that hung over her like a cloud. But he didn't feel sorry for her. He didn't feel angry either. He just felt nothing. Chloe had been a part of his life once, but that chapter was closed now. "Well, take care, Chloe," Liam said, nodding toward the door. Chloe gave him a small, sad smile. "You too, Liam." And with that, she turned and walked out of the cafe, disappearing into the crowd. Liam watched her go, feeling a strange sense of relief. It was over. Truly over. Seeing Chloe again had been the final piece of closure he hadn't realized he needed. She had made her choices, and he had made his. And now, standing there in that cafe, Liam knew with certainty that he had moved on. As Liam left the cafe that day, he didn't look back. His past with Chloe was behind him, and his future with Sarah, whatever it might hold, was something he could look forward to with hope and excitement. He had learned from the pain, grown from the heartbreak, and come out stronger on the other side. The lesson was simple. Life moves on, and so do we. Even after the deepest betrayals, there is always a chance for new beginnings, for new happiness, and for new love. Liam had found that for himself, and in doing so, he had learned to trust again, not just in others, but in himself. And that, in the end, was the greatest victory of all. Previous part I will share in the next video. Thanks for watching and subscribe my channel. I need your support. Thanks.